Dude, welcome back to the Dudes in Sports Podcast. I'm your host, PC, and of course, we've got a great episode ready for you guys. We got, of course, the dudes here that are normally. We heard that Nick Howard was out looking at volcano research to make sure that the next one wouldn't erupt and destroy a ton of homes. So he's out there exploring, doing that.
Italy.
I don't know the specific.
Italy.
Yeah. Crazy.
Nice.
Just a world traveler, so he's going to hopefully join us here at some point, but we never know. But we got the main crew normally here. Let's start off with main man from way out west. How's the week going?
Pretty good. We got some big stuff going on for UFC. Exciting show for you guys. We just got done with high school football camp, so those boys are ready to roll. UFC. It was a great card. Obviously not our locks did not go as locks. Really what I should have said instead of locks was, what do you call those? Like, big money.
Yeah.
They were all like plus 1,000.
Yeah.
And to say a plus 1,000's a lock.
It's not quite underdogs, but.
Well, I mean, it was an underdog, but I'm saying like a sneaky picks.
Yeah.
P4 sneaky pick, main man from way out west, sneaky.
We gotta figure out. We can find out a
Let's
catchy title
workshop
for that
that.
short. We could definitely
Yeah.
do that, and then you can give out some sneaky picks or something later on.
But other than that, I think we're killing it. Mets crushed it today. I want Kyle to do a whole 18 minutes on Pete Alonso and why he's the greatest batter in baseball today. What are we gonna do about the Royals launch angle?
That is a crazy stat. You thrown out. Sorry, I'm all messed up today. I'm prepared.
Well, let's talk to Kyle.
Yes, it's Case
Hello,
Show. That's our 10-day contract guy. Continuously has to be reevaluated. K-Stel, I guess here, let me just put my mic down for a minute. How was your week?
My weekend was productive. Got a lot of wedding stuff done. Tried to figure out where I was
I'd hope so. It's
trying
the
to
last week.
No, next week is the last week. We'll see if I'm here for the episode next week. I might be in the grind zone that time.
You understand you're like under contract.
I know,
right? And
but
every time the 10 days, like we keep extending this out. Execs up top at the board are like, this guy is like getting.
Yep, I get
like,
it. But I'm like Charles. I'm like Charles Barkley. Like you
never
can't.
winning a ring.
Yes.
Get so close.
That was a great
finish
comeback.
The actual product.
That was a great comeback. No, got a lot of productive stuff. Tried to figure out where you clowns were sitting in the seating chart. Got the playlist done. Stuff like
definitely
that.
Put us in the back next to the bathroom in the trash.
You guys are in the back, but you're closest to the food. It's not the biggest place. It's fine.
We don't really. Care. It doesn't matter.
Had a great weekend with the fiance. Trying to get a couple of those days in. I do have something else to say. PC, I do see the Central Missouri on your chest. Let me explain something real quick.
Out.
The Division II baseball organizers, the site, whoever created the Division II World Series, I want you to go and shove it up your ass. Shove it up your big fat ass, because the Central Missouri Mules should have a better opportunity to win the College World Series. If you guys don't know, Central Missouri is one of the best D2 baseball programs in the nation. Should be D1, but they're sitting at D2 so that they can continuously play in the World Series every year. Just be really good. They played 6 games in 5 days. I believe 4 of their games were less than 12 or like 15 hours of rest. They had pitchers go to the hospital. They had their lineup just defeated, absolutely defeated. They played out of the loser's bracket. The entire tournament was a big fat scam. They won the first game on Friday of the College World Series championship game, which is a best out of 3 game. Do you want to know when they played their next 2 games out of the best of 3 games? They played a doubleheader Saturday in the daytime and the afternoon. The Mules had no pitchers left to put in there. They battled, they grinded, and it was unbelievable. They ran out of gas. Heads up to the Mules. They lost to Tampa. The NCAA committee should be ashamed of themselves for absolutely putting on the most disgusting layout of a D2 tournament I've ever seen in my life. It's disgusting. It's gross. It makes me want to vomit in my mouth. My cousin Eli, who's the pitcher there, you guys had a phenomenal job of putting your boys out there and just grinding through the at-bats. Tampa's a really good program. Shout out to them as well. But it's disgusting. The Mules should have their third national title in the World Series, and they don't because of the bullcrap league tournament they play in. D2, figure it out, bro. That is disgusting. And what made it worse is you put them in Cary, North Carolina. Disgusting. Other than that, I had a great weekend.
Yeah, well, shout out Mules Nation there, of course. But yeah, let's get to some actual stuff people watch.
Whoa, actual? This is our alma mater.
Yeah, you're right. Snouts out. Sorry, shouldn't put disrespect on the old Berg, but that's actually
Roll stable.
third hometown, right behind Vashon in Manhattan, Kansas. So lots of memories down there at UCM. But let's talk about some professional sports. We're going to talk quickly about the NBA and the NBA playoffs. It's kind of a slower season here for the Dudes in Sports channel. No NFL football, no college football, no college basketball. So we're really in the dog days. Yeah, no dog days of summer. We're really trying to get a proper show, but we do have the NBA playoffs going on currently. There has been 2 games. The second game just wrapped up here about 20 minutes ago. But series is tied 1-1. If you did not see Game 1's ending, if you like a good sports game, you like basketball, and you just want to watch like the last 5 minutes of that game and just watch the Pacers dismantle the best team that we've seen in a while, and the win differential between the OKC Thunder and all the other opponents is by 10 points in total, out of each game. So they would average 20 point wins, and other teams would average 10 point when they won the games. But OKC just kind of choked at the very end, and Halliburton was able to become the hero. He was putting up tour date numbers, which he was really not playing well, but that's kind of how OKC's operated. Gave him a chance to win at the end. Halliburton did beat one of the best currently in the game at beating clutch, which was Jalen Brunson. He's also been clutch all playoffs, so they ended up stealing Game 1. They only had the lead for 3 seconds out of the entire game. Just an unbelievable meltdown. You had, obviously, Pascal Siakam doing his thing. You had Obi Toppin with 16 points, 5 3-pointers. Don't expect that from a guy. And Obi played at Dayton. Great player there. Shea and company, they all kind of played all right, but it just was a total meltdown. OKC was definitely not letting them melt down in Game 2. 123-107 win over the Indiana Pacers. Shea had 34. Just doing his thing, 11 for 21, so 50%, almost 50% from the floor. But they, as a team total, they shot 38% from 3, which is pretty. 14 threes on the day. That really helps. But you also had Jalen Williams, who played okay, not as great, but he had 19.
He's in that one commercial, right?
Chet
Holmgren.
With Chet and all of them, yes. Yep, and Chet had 15 points, but then shout out to Isaiah Hartenstein, who was actually coming off the bench. Alex Caruso had 20 points tonight, White Boy Nation, and Aaron Wiggins had 18. So the OKC Thunder were able to get a little bit more effort out of their squad. On the Indiana Pacers line on Game 2, Pascal only had 15, had a rough shooting night. Tyrese had 17, but also everybody just kind of had a rough shooting night. They shot 45% from the floor, which isn't that bad, but 35% from 3, just could not get it done. Series tied 1-1 going back to Indiana. We're definitely going to have to wait and see on that. Should be really interesting. It's kind of all that's really going on in the NBA. We will get more into NBA stuff as the draft comes up next week. We're going to do our top 10 for the picks for the NBA draft. Since the draft comes up the week after, that we will be offline for K-Stelt's wedding. So that following Thursday will be that NBA draft. So we're going to go through picks 1 through 10 as the Dudes in Sports channel, just to give you a little bit of extra stuff for the Dudes in Sports. So, yeah, NBA is doing really well. We'll have to wait and see how those playoffs start, or those games go. K-Stelt, main man from Way Out West, either one of you, did any of you catch any of these games, see anything, clips, anything that you liked or enjoyed? Mr. Fingerman.
Halliburton, is he doing satanic rituals? Is he talking to Patrick Mahomes, Taylor Swift? A couple of those, rituals they do. We don't know. We don't know what's going on with Halliburton. What the Hallie is what they're calling the kid nowadays. I believe, what was the stat I saw? Like, he's third best in clutch and like last minute shots, game tying shots with what, like Reggie Miller and what was that? Who's the number one guy? P4. Could you explain who the number one? LeBron James. LeBron James, number one, with the most game tying or game winning shots in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
They did start tracking it after 1989, so maybe Jordan's like number 5 or number 4 with, I think, 4. Did Jordan have 4 game-tying, game-winning shots? I think he had 4.
I don't have that statistic.
I think I'm remembering in the back of my head he may have 4, which would be 5th or 6th, tied with a couple other guys. But Halliburton is a dude. Got a weird shot. But, man, what was it? They had 18 turnovers or something like. The game one was crazy. And we need to acknowledge something right now. That the Indiana Pacers are making the NBA a little bit more fun to watch. And the reason why is the reason why P4 likes watching basketball, the reason why PC loves college basketball, and the reason I love basketball is they move the ball up the court. Right after the rebound. Poof, bam, bam, they move it up the court real fast. Defense can't catch up. They play good defense. They're solid. They miss a lot of shots. They have a lot of mistakes, but at the end of the day, they're still NBA players. They have high three-point percentages, and, they just have that clutch gene that kind of, alters the idea of what the NBA is. The NBA is normally high percentage shooting kids who play good enough defense, unless you're that one guy on Instagram that I sent that screenshot of all the videos that he. Apparently, there's this guy on Instagram that does NFL level, breakdowns of NBA defenses, which is crazy. I don't even know how you can get that in depth with defenses, especially in the NBA, drop coverages and stuff like that. It blows my mind. But the Indiana Pacers exploit those holes in NBA defenses where, a lot of NBA players just aren't good defensively. They're good offensively, and that's just kind of how the game is played. And the Indiana Pacers just kind of mesh it all together and say, listen, we're going to make a lot of threes. We're going to, play rough and tough defense. We're going to make a lot of mistakes as well because we're aggressive. And it works for them. And tonight, it just didn't work for them. Oklahoma City made more shots than them. That's kind of how the game works. If you make more shots, you're going to win. But Indiana definitely isn't out of this, and I think Indiana being that low in the odds is kind of disrespectful to how they play the game. So I hope it goes to Game 7. I really do. I hope it goes to Game 6. I hope it's close, something like that. I think Oklahoma City is a juggernaut, but I think the Indiana Pacers are such a weird team, and we don't see a lot of all-stars on this team, but it's a team that is better than most other teams just because of the style of basketball they play. And a lot of NBA fans just don't know it because a lot of them are just so used to NBA-style basketball, and then when a guy like me, who is strictly NCAA watcher, watches the Indiana Pacers, I go, wow, this team is good because of the style they play basketball. It's fun to watch. They get to the hole, they make a lot of mistakes, but at the end of the day, they continue to play at 110% every single time. Defense, offense, every single moment of the game, they're playing hard.
Yeah, there's not much of the whole drive to the basket, iso ball, kick to the corner in that offense.
They swing it. They swing it fast.
It's a lot more fast, yeah, and it's 100% agree. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, the Indiana Pacers did not lead the game today, and they only led for 3 seconds in the last one. So, I'm not saying they're out of it, but OKC has pretty much controlled this series, and they look like they're on their way to a championship. But who knows? We go to Indiana, and it might be something completely different come Sunday. So we'll keep track of that. We'll talk free agents and draft coming up later. Free agency is going to be wild in the NBA. My Phoenix Suns are going to be ripped apart. It's going to be fun to see exactly what happens with that. And I could be in a depressive state like those Jets and Titans fans are, and hope that my team can maybe get something eventually. But it's just not looking good. But we'll get into that when the NBA Finals is over. Let's move on to a little bit of off-season stuff. Again, college basketball is back, our CBB Corner 3. We're going to go through some off-season stuff. Eventually, we'll do breakdowns of each kind of conference, especially the Power 4, and then Big East is making it technically a Power 5. Each conference breakdown and see who the guys are going to pick. Obviously, we're way out, so there's a lot of time for this. But I did want to kind of go over the new coaching staff. If you don't know who was picked up or who got hired and who got fired. But I wanted to go over the major additions of the college basketball scene. So we talked players and how they're on different teams. Now we're going to talk coaches here. The biggest one for the Dudes in Sports podcast is where Isaiah Howard playing in Iowa, and then it's Ben McCollum. We've already kind of talked to Ben McCollum going to Iowa. Should be a really good fit there with Bennett Sturts. That team should be fun to watch in the Big Ten. Who knows how well they're going to do, but they proved a lot at Drake last year. And I think they're kind of just moving up. It's like they just moved up to the better league. So I think they're going to do pretty well up there as well. Texas grabs Howard's guy and Sean Miller from Xavier. That's their new head coach there. Good pickup for the Longhorns. Xavier actually picked up Rick Pitino's son, Richard Pitino, to be their brand new head coach there out in Xavier. Indiana, one of the premier basketball venues and just historic programs, ends up hiring Darian DeVries. A little bit kind of his son's really good, but who knows how that'll happen. We'll see what happens to them. Villanova picks up Kevin Willard from Maryland. That was the whole thing last tournament when he was already announced. He was still in the tournament. It's like, what the heck, man. We got a little bit of buckyball coming to Texas A&M and the Aggies. That should be fun with Bucky McMillan. They also have Darion Williams, who will be really cool. NC State grabs Will Wade and Amir Ora Khan also is going to go out there and be at NC State and be their speaker guy and walk the guys out to the games too. So shout out to NC State on that. Miami actually gets Jay Lucas. P4, do you know who Jay Lucas is?
No.
Jay Lucas was a former Duke basketball player, played 30 years ago. He is now the head coach at Miami. However, he was head assistant for under Shire the last 2 years. Helped him come up with the number 1 overall freshman recruiting class coming in last year. And so he just took the job at Miami. And then this one I thought was pretty cool to kind of put in. You guys might get a little giggle. Sacramento State, not a huge school, but kind of cool. Their new head coach, the legend, the white boy himself, Mike Bibby, is the new head coach for the Sacramento State Spartans. And they have Shaquille O'Neal as their general manager, as Shakur O'Neal is the starting center for Sacramento. Just kind of cool, kind of a little tidbit. Mike Bibby, white boy legend, so kind of cool to see that. A little bit of a hot seat check here. There's only a few names that kind of come to mind. Again, I've been doing a little bit of research on this, but there's these big ones. And I want to see what K-Stel would have to say in this scenario coming up. But the hot seat check, the biggest one is obviously North Carolina's Hubert Davis. They actually came out with a number that they spent $14 million on their roster this year, paying players. So he now has a number with that, which is $14 million. If you don't know, is like top 3 in the nation now. So if he doesn't do well, I mean, they barely made the tournament last year, shouldn't have made it. Whatever, they made it the year after. Before that, they didn't make it. Then the year and then even though he went to the finals where he ended up losing to Kansas in that game, he hasn't done anything since. If he has this amount of money and they don't do anything, especially if they're on the bubble talk, I think Davis is gone and North Carolina is going to be the best job coming into the 2026 season. Bobby Hurley out in Arizona State. That is Dan Hurley's brother. They're doing okay, but he just definitely needs to make some progress. They haven't made the tournament in a while, and so that might be moving on a little bit. And then Johnny Dawkins for UCF again is another one of those that hasn't really worked out in the Big 12, but that's a really tough get for a UCF, which was definitely more of a football school other than that. So K-Stel, let's hope this doesn't happen, right? But if the Darren Peterson experiment, they all fail, right? They didn't make the tournament, but it's a lot like last year. Lots of frustration. And I know Bill has a lifetime contract, but do you think fans start getting a little anxious and start pulling a Calipari like he was at Kentucky? Like, hey, maybe it's time for Self to kind of look towards is the grass greener on the other side if this season doesn't go well?
Well, if I think about since I've watched KU basketball and we've all watched college basketball, especially through coaches and the style of coaching. Bill Self's style of coaching with this group next season is going to be vastly different from the past 2 seasons we've seen. In fact, it's probably going to be similar to like 2015, 2016, something like that, but with a bit more depth. Bill Self has better 3-and-D guards than he's ever had in his life. If they do struggle, which means every 3-and-D guy stinks, first of all, the number one thing that has to happen for Bill Self's teams to struggle massively means, number one, DP is a complete bust. Not like he's worse than Hunter Dickinson. He's awful. And, and our defense is bad. That's insane. That's like almost the worst case scenario to ever happen to anybody, ever. If that does happen, I think Bill will probably stay on staff, and I think he does an overhaul with his other group of coaches, scouting, stuff like that. I think he gets rid of all of them. The program would always be in decline, something like that. I don't think he gets fired next season, but the overhaul is massive.
I don't think he gets fired. I think he gets like politely asked.
No, he won't. He won't be asked to leave. I think he'll be asked to fire a lot of coaches, for sure.
Yeah. Because
Bill Self, at the end of the day, is a good basketball coach.
Yeah.
We just knew that Bill Self, in his recruiting, has always been the issue. It's been the issue forever. And he will just fire coaches that are bad at recruiting, hire new coaches. And then if it goes south, then yeah, Bill Self probably leaves and KU just restarts their program, like they have always done.
Yep.
Nothing can be worse than Roy Williams leaving after Kansas makes a national championship and going over to North Carolina. Nothing will be worse than that.
Yeah.
Even though we weren't old enough. That's like the worst case. That's like asking P4, hey, by the way, you have a ton of great guys coming in and you're expected to be a top 3 team. And let's say Duke doesn't make the tournament for 3 straight years. Like, what are you going to do?
Simply would not happen.
Exactly.
That means
that's
down.
That's what my point is that there's no way that Bill Self.
There's clips out there of us saying this last year with Hunter Dickinson.
I know, but we were.
I'm not saying I'm a
yes.
DP guy. I think
Yes.
DP's going to be great.
Yes,
but I'm saying
but we were also stupid in believing that big men like Hunter Dickinson, who were offensive first guys, defensive last guys, couldn't even guard a pick and roll. Like, we thought that was just going to do it. Like, if these guys can't get to the Sweet 16 with DP doing DP stuff and everyone else doing their job. If everyone else is doing their job at the most average level, this team makes it to the Sweet 16 at the bare minimum. That's just how it is. 3-and-D guys who can shoot 37% better from the three-point line, and everyone else can, and they all can play defense. I mean, are you kidding me? That's a Bill Self team that's making the Sweet 16 at every day, and if they run into a buzzsaw, they run into a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as worse as what DeJuan Harris was bringing to the table. And listen, DeJuan Harris was a great guy, but bringing in a dude who is not an offensive threat, his defense just slacked. He had nothing. It didn't work. P4, go ahead.
P4, yeah.
For that, if we follow that exact same logic, can we say that next year's Duke team will be a better performing team compared to last year's Duke team? Considering
think-
they're going to
I
have more
think
3-and-D guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 3-and-D
No,
guys
the talent-
3-and-D guys are.
talent there.
Wait,
bro,
just hold on.
is not as good as last year.
But 3-and-D
It's not.
guys are running basketball nowadays. They are. Look at every single NBA player. Look at Neesmith. Look at all these guys. Guys who can play defense. Guys who can
Those
hit
guys
threes.
aren't the
That's
best
just
players on
that's.
they're the best players on their team, but they're not on Duke University. Not saying Duke University has so many
but
high
if
profile
Duke University has a
players
bunch of
that
3-and-D
those
guys,
don't matter.
but Duke-
if Cameron Boozer and Sarr don't
But-
play, it's not going to matter how many 3-and-D
but
guys
listen,
you have.
but we've seen that Duke has decided to become a defensive first team. We saw that last season.
That was always the case. That has never not been the case.
No.
No, they've had guys like Zion.
They had
and
Grayson
stuff,
Allen
but
who
they've
like to
always,
trick
yeah.
people, but
No,
They always get that guy. Like,
right, yeah.
no, not their best player, but they always have had.
But
defensive first
you
base. So don't
guys
say
we saw last year when Duke focused on being one of the best defensive teams in the nation. We saw what happened when everyone else was just making the shots that they were supposed to make. It wasn't like there were a couple of guys doing something. Oh my word, Proctor's making shots. We've never seen this before. No, Proctor makes
he
shots.
did go like 9 from 11 from 3 one game
What?
or something.
He went
right?
1 from
Something
what?
ridiculous. What?
He went 1 from what?
What's Jack Haglione doing?
When was the last time Bo Jackson hit 4 hits in his first?
We're not on MLB. Stop doing it. You stupid fucking
No, okay, can we stay on kind of the same train and go, because I'm kind of seeing PC's side when we talk about Duke, where it's like, well, yeah, the talent, though, at the end of the day. And then Kyle rebuts with this thing about, well, that's Duke. They're always going to have talent. Now I feel like we're straying away. Let's not get too far away from Kansas. Now, obviously, I don't.
Right.
But you guys see Kansas as a blue blood. You guys aren't supposed to have.
What do you mean we see them as a blue blood? They are a blue blood.
Well,
There's
usually have stars.
whoa,
But
no.
it is-
Don't pull
it's
this. No,
different.
don't
It's
pull this
different.
string. Don't rage bait here. Kansas is a blue blood. They've been a blue blood. There's only 5 blue bloods. There's Duke. There's Kentucky. There's UCLA. There's Kansas. And if we want to put UCLA in there, sure. Why not?
Kansas-
Whoa. You said UCLA twice.
UCLA.
Oh, I
UNC?
did? UNC. Yes, you're right. UNC. Sorry.
Indiana?
No.
Indiana's-
Indiana has not won a championship in a very, very long time.
What the issue is that Kansas is going to have talent, but it's usually a different style of blue blood talent. Duke goes and grabs usually one of the top best freshmen, and then they kind of grab 2 or 3 of them, and then kind of build around that. Kansas, not in recent years, they've tried to do this. It hasn't worked
5-person game,
enough.
that's a pretty
But
good
they have,
start.
but they usually are very. Bill Self is very good at building. He builds his seniors up to be really good. They do
Kansas-
have they need a freshman, but it is not as Duke where they go grab the 2 of the 3 of the top 10 players in the nation and then just build around those guys. It's a different style of blue blood, but that doesn't make them not.
While also doing the pick up the 4-year guys and develop them. As
Right,
well.
they do. Yeah. It's Duke is.
It's
you
the
can't-
best. It's the best of both worlds, and that's
I mean,
why
they are a
you should
top
invite
tier
me to this
Listen,
podcast.
performance.
College basketball is better when blue
You can't
bloods are
deny how
good.
good they are.
If
Then
you-
when Blue Who's
if Kentucky, UNC, Duke, UCLA, and Kansas were
Flip it.
all really good, the NCAA is better. That's just the
only
truth.
team I'm taking
That's just the truth.
UCLA, I know they have the biggest record for NCAA, but would you maybe put Villanova in
No.
there instead of UCLA just
No.
for current recency
No.
bias? For current, when was the last time UCLA won a championship?
It hasn't been a
Were they
while.
actually relevant? What, when
2 years
Lonzo Ball
ago.
was
2
there?
years ago, they made the NCAA
So-
championship. Oh wait, no,
Oh, yeah,
they.
that's right. Tommy Hawkins. No, that was
Wait, no, wait. They did it. They lost to the Final
in the
Four
Final
game.
Four, the Final
They
Four.
lost to the
Tommy
game-winning
Hawkins. Yeah,
game-winning
yes,
shot
yes.
to
They were good.
Gonzaga.
Yes, you're right.
But
that's 1 year out of the last
Yes, but UCLA is in a
Villanova's-
very first of all, UCLA has a campus problem that they need to figure out in a big time. They don't even know who they're paying NIL money to. All their NIL money is going to their softball program at this point. They don't even know who they're paying for. So UCLA does have the ability to get better, and I hope they do, because I think UCLA being a good basketball team is huge, and especially in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
We
well, they
need
just
them to
can
be there.
continue have to complain about flying across the country and all this stuff. The
Yeah,
entire
but at the
season
end of the
again,
day,
and
they
then,
won 11 championships, and that's freaking bananas.
no, yeah,
That's
wins,
bananas.
Wins. It is what it is. But yeah, interesting little conversation there. Obviously, this little segment will go back and forth, especially if we start bringing up power rankings. If I don't have Duke in my ACC #1 spot, I think P4 might have an aneurysm, so we're gonna try and keep that local. I think we're gonna start with
But
the
you can't do
SEC.
something like put Miami there and then be
I'm
like,
not
oh
putting
yeah,
Miami
well it's
there.
because he's
I'm
gonna
not
do all the
doing
Duke
that.
things.
No. I know.
Like,
I'm not
oh.
putting Miami there. But ACC, whatever. We can get into that when we get into that. But that's just a little coaching like tour, just to be able to see who is going to be coaching these programs.
If
Maybe for the next
KU's
few
next
years.
coach ends up being from the K coaching, that would just make my life.
Yeah, Bill Self. Bill Self would have to have something really bad. Do I think can be actually pushed out? But
Well,
you
no,
never know.
eventually, at some point.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, let's talk. There's not much NFL to go over. Just the little quick. Aaron Rodgers showed up to Steelers camp. Cool, nice. This is again, we're in the dog days.
Aaron Rodgers
Of,
Jets or Aaron Rodgers Steelers versus Justin Fields Jets Week 1
nice.
Monday Night
That'll be
Football.
really interesting, for sure. So,
He's
like I
gonna
said,
tear his Achilles
dog days
running
of
out with the American flag.
Dog days
I
of
fucking
summer
hope.
are here for the Dudes in Sports. Again, we'll go start over in July. We're going to go start the division by division, have the guys pick who they think are going to win those divisions. It'll lead us right into football season, so be amped up for that. NFL, again, it's kind of taking a back seat for that. We had a little bit of, it's a little bit sad, but, it is what it is. Sugar Sean O'Malley, Mirab, the Machine, took on at UFC. Where was it again? I can't even remember.
316 Prudential Center, New
Yeah,
Jersey.
There you go, New Jersey. So P4's got that for us, and then we'll hit our MLB. And then if Howard joins us tonight, we don't know about the whole volcano and his Wi-Fi situation. So hopefully he can join us, but we don't know. But how was Sugar Sean and the Machine?
Well, let's talk about the whole card because this is a great card. We talk a lot of smack about the cards, and something we've brought up the last few weeks, and I think is it's easy to call back to now when there's a good card. But the United States, so there's a rights deal obviously in the United States, how they work with, or how the UFC works within the United States compared to their other countries that they work with. They have like different deals, and this is how many events you have to put on per year and all that kind of stuff. So the UFC's been forced to throw together some events that maybe didn't deserve to come to fruition. But this was a good card, front to back. I mean, Mark Chewinski, who was going for title fight. Ooh, whoops. He was going for the double champ and Anthony Pettis's fight ordeal. I forget what that thing's called. Like Anthony Pettis Showtime Promotions or something. Whoa! There you guys are. But the first fight of the night was Mark Chewinski, Mark the Shark versus Marquel Moderos. It did go to the decision. It was unanimous. I do agree with the fight. Mark Chewinski was one of the guys who we had on our locks. We had him as a submission favorite or as a submission lock. Now, here's the thing. Are they going to show? Okay, well, this is bullshit. He had 4 submission attempts at least. He had a standing rear naked choke attempt. He had a guillotine attempt while he was on the ground. He had a mounted guillotine attempt. Mark was looking for the submission the whole time. It was just Marquel Moderos who came out on top, and he definitely struck with him. It wasn't really necessarily a close fight. But pretty good. Mark Chewinski, the logic upheld. Then we had Quillian Salakid take on Yanel Ashmus and the Israeli fighter. Quillian, whose last fight was in Australia, and he got a crazy 19-second knockout. He looked really good in this fight as well. This was a unanimous decision. We had one parlay that had Sal Khalid on a card that we'll talk about upcoming. But that was a parlay. He did win the fight. He had the most takedowns. He had the most total strikes. Significant strikes went to him as well. This was a really cool fight. Then we had this one. This was the performance of the night, I believe, for
Dude, yeah,
GCU.
28 second knockout, bro. Just
And it
dirt.
looked a lot like Aldo McGregor, right? Coming at him, pop, floating back. Really incredible fight. He's a little Korean zombie. His last two fights were the Korean Zombies fight organization thing, the thing that him and Max Holloway did. Um, so this is a cool fight. Jeka Saragig was an interesting fighter heading into this. He also was well performing in his other promotion that he was in. I think he won a couple fight of the nights. He had a couple quick knockouts. We did have him on a different parlay to win by KO. Now, Ju Sang Yu obviously came out on top, and he looked very good. But Jeka Sarahagig, he's also a fighter who may have a couple good wins. This may be a well, right? Like Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway was Max Holloway's debut, and he lost to Dustin Poirier. And it's like, well, holy smokes, that was a pretty first tough pull. Then to round out the early prelims, Wang Kong unanimous decision over Adrian De Silva. Now this was pretty obvious. The odds beforehand were heavy in Wang Kong's way. Wang Kong, pretty incredible fighter. Andrea De Silva, I believe she was coming off of 2 losses, maybe even 3 of her last 4, something along those lines. She's on her way out, but Wang Kong rising through the ranks. Flyweight, that's a pretty understated division right now. Obviously, we had the women's bantamweight later in this card, but yeah, this was an interesting fight. It was a good fight, and Wang Kong, she's going to be someone to mess with. Chaos Williams versus Andreas Gustafsson. Now, Chaos has a hand. He's got a right hand attached to his body, and that thing knocks people the F out. But Andreas Gustafsson, and they called this a robbery. I don't think it was a robbery. Andreas, now, damage, control, significant strikes, all these different things. Come on, just show me the stats. Total strikes 95 to 151. Significant strikes 98 to 39. Round by round 49 to 36. 32 to 44, but 3 takedowns. And 14 to 71. I don't know. I felt like Andreas won. I think the numbers kind of reflected that as well. We did have him on this parlay, and we'll go off. So Quillian, the Australian, Gustafsson, the Swede, and we'll continue throughout the card on this parlay. But this was a good fight. I believe we had him as won't go the distance on our locks. That did not come to fruition, but both these guys were swinging. The logic, once again, upheld, but not a lock. So we're going to have to change this name to like Sneaky Picks or something. Something don't fucking put all your money on, because they do not hit all the time for me as well. But every once in a while you get one of the cards like this that does, where we had the Mets, Kevin Holland, and France today. Whoa, $140 on a golf parlay. Interesting one. Our friend of the podcast, Blatty. Stream Oscar Madone's new album, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, free promo. Sorry for that, gentleman. Probably should have ran it by you, but
that's okay. That. We're okay. Shout out everyone.
Yeah, Oscar Madone, new album. Sergey Spivak versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. He was also on this parlay. So we had Salikid, Gustafsson, Cortez Acosta. And he was trying to finish the fight as well. He was one of our locks that we were trying to have finish the fight. And this, was this the fight? No, I don't know. I mean, because he had a couple takedowns. They said this fight was a flipping robbery as well. So I don't know what I was seeing on X. I wasn't really paying attention. I was watching the fight pretty intensely. We had some pretty good parlays that we were working on. So significant strikes, 110 to 48. Cortez Acosta, he's going to get a knockout sooner or later. So I'm going to hammer his KO percentage coming up. We'll see who he's going to fight next. Maybe we'll play some matchmaker after this. Azamat Murzakudanov, another Russian. Benderson Ribeiro, he's another good power puncher. He was heavy plus money to get a knockout. I think I had him on something. I may have tweeted that out. But this fight was over like nuts. Azamat is one of the few Russians who actually wants to fight and throws punches and stuff. So I'm really excited to see what he does coming up in the UFC. Benderson Ribeiro, also good power puncher. Joshua Van versus Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva was another KO. he lost his last fight to Charles Johnson, I believe, or not Charles Johnson. He lost a fight. Oh, Manuel Kopp. That's what it was. Lost his last fight to Manuel Kopp. But other than that, he killed Joshua Van, or not Joshua Van, but in his last 4 fights before that, he had Performance of the Nights. So I was thinking, okay, Manuel Kopp's a good fighter. Joshua Van, obviously another good fighter. But for plus 1100, a guy who in his last 5 fights has 4 Performance of the Night knockouts, I want to put money on that KO plus 1100. Obviously didn't come to fruition. Joshua Van with the KO in the 3rd round. He should have finished it in the 1st. He should have finished it in the 2nd. Finally finished it in the 4th. Bruno Silva, Heart of a Lion. He was a champion out there just going forward. But gosh, yeah, Joshua Van's really good, man. I don't know who we put him against next. Maybe Kai Asakura. But I think Joshua Van's going to make some noise in this UFC. He's also very young. People talk about Paulo. What's the kid I'm thinking of? Raul Rosas.
Yeah.
Being a young kid. This guy's young. I think he's 20, 22 years old. All right, moving on up. Also on the parlay, Kevin Holland. And this parlay, by the way, $31.50 to win $2,987.45. We are 1, 2, 3, 4 correct going into the 5th fight. But Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's last really good finish was also a submission, also in the Prudential Center, also against a non-American. It was Michael Olechechki's submission. Kevin Holland got a good one there. Luque, good grappler, strong guy, still only 33 years old. Welterweight, I mean, I'd like to see him down at 55. Kevin Holland says he's going to stay at 70. Kevin Holland stays at 70. He called out Colby Covington. I think that's a great fight. Cool. I think that's the fight to make. Kevin Holland will be fighting for a UFC championship at welterweight by the year 2026. I think. Who's the current belt holder? Jack Della, and he's gonna fight. He's gonna fight Islam. I think. Oh fuck! It's 70's a log jam.
Yeah,
Kevin Holland wants to fight.
You got Sean
at least
Brady
2
there.
more
You
times.
got Shavkat. You've got
Ian Gary.
Gary Buckley. Yeah.
Usman.
You
He
just
called
had
out Covington. If he beats
Michael
Covington,
Morales.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's
Kevin
a
Holland
loaded
said,
class.
"Don't say Kevin Holland's name or Michael Morales' name around me."
I don't want to fight that guy.
Man, that's a tough one.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think Kevin Holland, within the year 2026, could fight for a UFC belt just because how active he is. He wants the fight. I could also see him losing a lot. Mario Bautista versus Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix
didn't do anything. You've seen that now a lot, though, right? With guys that are really hyped up or coming in, and then they just kind of get smashed.
He
like
was fighting as a champion. Yeah. You have to beat me, Mario Bautista. No, I do not. I will beat you, but you also have to try to beat me. Patchy was not trying to fight. Patchy was waiting like he's a Bellator, 2-time Bellator champ, 21-1. No, Mario Bautista went out there and put B to A.
Yeah.
Gosh, man. And Patchy Mix, hype was real, man. But I do agree. I think you were onto something there. I think there's something with the UFC matching up. These guys coming, at least from higher up, because obviously everyone always comes from a different promotion. You don't just start out with your first fight in the UFC other than Bo Nickel. But when you put these guys that are out in different promotions, they put them up against one of these contending UFC guys who have kind of been, not journeymen, but contenders who have 5, 6, 7, 8 fights under their belt and 2, 3 losses. And you go, wow, well, this Bellator guy is going to come in and kick ass. And then Mario Bautista goes, no, man, I've been fucking working in the UFC the last couple of years.
It's weird. It's just you see that, though, and it's just like, it's Kai was the same way when he came in. Maybe he was the champ, but still got smoked. I mean, yeah.
UFC debut against the champ, though.
Yeah. That's tough. Yeah.
Patchy Mix, we'll see what they do with him next. Kevin Gastelum versus Joe Pfeiffer. Kevin Gastelum.
That guy cannot get knocked out.
Pfeiffer?
No,
Or Gastelum.
no. Gatliffson can't get knocked.
He's got a chin on him. He should be fighting at 70. Look at this. He's a fucking wide body. He's built like a 67 Chevrolet, huh, Kyle?
Oh, bloody.
Look at his tiny legs, dude.
That is crazy, bro. Those are my legs.
It looks like a camera angle, like a fucking.
That's what he's doing, bro. Look at that guy.
Yeah. But Joe Pfeiffer made him look silly. He's 5'9", fighting at 170. Like he shouldn't be doing that. 155, he has a chance.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, this is at middleweight. At 170, he couldn't
yeah.
do this. Yeah, at 185, he has.
Yeah, the guy like Gatliffson fighting like a guy like DDP.
And he put a whooping on Izzy. Is the craziest thing. He beat Israel.
Izzy's
There's no way that guy is 170. How tall is he?
5'9".
5'9".
He's 185. He fights at 185.
I don't believe it.
But
That does not make me feel better. By the way, Castle, it's pretty cool. By the way, it does not make me feel better. He's 5'9", 180. I'm like maybe 6'1", 200. That's ridiculous.
Cookies and cream ice cream cake.
He's coming. He's coming.
P4 confusion. Is that like a Midwest thing?
Yeah, for sure.
Enjoy your schnocks. Sorry I didn't get the invite. This little thing right. Oh fuck. This little thing right here is really pissing me off. I don't want to get up and fix it. All right, before this show goes down, I mean, why was this the like both of these fights? I would have put Kevin Holland here. I would have switched KG with Pfeiffer Gastelum.
Yeah, Holland. You would have thought maybe over Gatliff.
But Holland's a baller. I'm real excited for his next couple fights. Moving on, women's bantamweight title bout, Juliana Pena. How are you gonna beat me, Kayla? How are you gonna beat me? I'm gonna beat you with my fist.
Hey, I'm gonna put the belt on.
DT.
The double T.
What's going on with your boy?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? During Pride Month. Ketamine withdrawal. Uh-oh.
Like, and then we're just little ants running around this maze. And we think
bro.
shit matters.
I love it, bro. I love it.
Oh,
For you,
God.
it might be a little difficult. For me and PC, we're chilling. We're here in the Midwest. It don't reach us. Stuff like this don't reach us.
It's all they talk about, man. You can't even like go down the street.
I can. I go down the street. You know what I hear? Well, Jack Caglione only had that.
Okay, that's objectively worse.
What's going on? Did she
There's
put the
no
belt?
way. You do not go down the street. Yes, she did. And Kevin Holland shook his hand. He gave DC a little handshake. Him and Rogan chatted. He chatted in Rogan's ear for a second. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. Maybe he ends up on the pod, bro. Can you imagine he gets on the pod with the list?
Yeah.
4,000%.
And he starts naming them off. He goes, oh, Clinton 6 times.
Let me really tell you about what's in those Epstein files.
And that was just in February of 07.
What's really in those Epstein files, I'll tell you.
Dude, it's whatever. I mean, we got Juliana Pena. We got Kayla Harrison. We got Kayla Harrison fighting in the women's division. I mean, look at those fucking forearms.
Yeah. She's tech.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. And Juliana Pena, great fighter, but she got submitted, and I was like, oh, man. Yeah, the champ went down. We're going to see it again. Yeah, Kayla Harrison is that girl. She's really good. Her versus
Her
Nunez is a great
Nunez is gonna
fight.
be awesome, man.
We're going to see what happens there. But, like, holy smokes. What the hell? She's really good. She's incredible. Murad Dvalishvili is like really good at UFC. At the game UFC, he's incredible. I think he's I mean, he's definitely the best in the bantamweight division right now.
Yeah, his gas tank is just unbelievable.
This feels like a Tyron Woodley run, or a
Yeah.
Kamaru Usman run, or not really an Izzy run, because Izzy did it a different way.
Yeah,
He did
but
it
yeah,
kinda like how Sean
Usman
did it.
or Woodley.
This was supposed to be the Sean era,
Yeah, it's not. It's the
just because of that guy. It's kind of like how the Conor era was overseen by the Khabib era, or how the
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson era was overseen by the UFC era.
What's next for Sean?
I think he goes up to 45. I like Brian Ortega.
Yeah, I mean you can't. I mean, yeah, unless Merab loses to Sandhagen.
I think O'Malley does a 45, beats Oliveira, comes back down to 35.
No,
He's like in a
no,
Max
it's
Holloway
over.
situation.
It's over.
Shut up.
He's
it's
done.
Not over for Max Holloway. It's the same thing with Holloway and Volkanovski.
It's over.
Holloway's the GOAT, or not the GOAT, but like you're at 35,
Yeah,
you're a really
he's
good
that
fighter.
guy.
I mean, Holloway's
Sean
the GOAT, but
O'Malley
O'Malley's not
has a
that.
bigger purpose than fighting. It's over, dude.
I have a couple bad episodes of Dudes in Sports, and you just say retire and do what? I mean, dude, he's the best at his craft.
How
What are
many?
you supposed
But
to?
He
he's
does
but he,
have an
but he,
opportunity.
Sure.
At 45.
And then what happens when he loses again?
He still has his major brand, everything that he's built.
So why doesn't Bill Self just shoot himself right now? Because it's all over. Nothing ever
Now we're
matters.
Bait,
What are we
bait,
talking
bait,
about?
rage, bait, rage, bait. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best at
Well,
it.
no,
ever.
it just doesn't make
Ever,
sense. I just
ever,
punch
ever.
holes in your
I'm the
logic.
best
You're
ever.
not good at
I am the
rage
best.
bait.
I'm the
You're
best
good at
ever.
rage bait
I'm the best
If you're
ever.
just saying stupid crap.
That's the whole
over
point
and
of rage
over.
baiting is
No,
saying
rage
saying
bait has to
stupid
make
crap.
a point. You just say shit for 10 minutes.
Exactly.
What are you talking
No, whoa,
about?
whoa, whoa, whoa. Of UFC, I just say
We've got
stuff
a
for
meta.
UFC.
This podcast is very meta.
Okay, we need to
Ketamine
move on.
withdrawal.
Case
Sorry,
Dunn
I'm
needs to
sorry,
be
I'm
more
sorry.
involved because every time he opens his mouth, it's like 20 minutes. So you might as well move on to the MLB section with Case Dell, unless you want to do some pairing up. What's next for Merab?
God. Sandhagen.
Turn it back off. No one wants to listen.
35.
It wasn't even off.
I
It
like
actually was.
Sandhagen a lot. I like Sandhagen a lot.
I think it's a great fight.
Sean, this whole Sean thing. Let me speak on Sean because I am a Sean supporter. You're allowed to be mad at when your fighter loses. Merab won the fight. He's better at the UFC game than anyone else at 35. At least right now, he would fight for 50 minutes. Sean's whole thing is he's going to get you tired with feints. Merab doesn't care. Merab's going to hit you with dead leg knees to the quad no matter what. Like, if you give him the chance, he's just going to suffocate you. And that's not how O'Malley does. It's how Strickland beat Izzy. And this isn't like excuses. This is just explaining as a UFC pundit or whatever I am, just how I see the fight. And I saw the fight, and gosh, O'Malley got whooped. And it sucks because I felt like this was going to be the era of O'Malley. And O'Malley was going to go and beat these guys the right way. And the way that I want to see, with keeping distance and landing damage and having these highlight reel knockouts. And that's what I like to see, and that's how I want to see the fights be done. And Izzy was an interesting cat, not being really an Izzy fan, but Merab, he's also a super fun guy. He's very respectful. Merab impression is like, hey guys, number one fighter, I'm going to take my belt back this weekend, but O'Malley, you want in hot tub this weekend? We can do that also. Let's go, guys. Like he's like, yeah, you can't hate him. He's just awesome. He's a cool dude. We're looking at Sean now on the screen. I mean, total strikes 38 in the whole fight, but 31 significant. I mean, the kid puts him out at a high clip. But look at Merab, 144 strikes, 66%. He threw 215 in 3 rounds.
Yeah.
45% of 115 significant strike attempts. 52 out of 215, 25% of the time this kid throws a strike, it's a significant, which means lands flush. We've learned that in the UFC rules. Lands flush. So that means 1/4 of his punches that he threw landed flush, and the motherfucker just destroyed Sean. He did not give him any space to breathe. That's why I'm wearing the shirt. I mean, Nate Diaz talk shit, get hit. Sean O'Malley talk shit, he got hit. What are we doing here? I mean, round 3, Round 2 was Sean. I was like looking. I was like, oh my god, Sean did it. 0 for 4 on takedowns. He was doing everything. And then Marab comes back in round 4, and he goes, or in round 3, and he goes, oh, I'm coming back. I'm right at you. I'm in your face. I'm doing this. He's a great fighter. He's an incredible fighter. I'd like to see Sandhagen. Now, Sandhagen, he's a little different than O'Malley. He likes being on the ground more than O'Malley, so it'll be interesting to see if he can maybe catch Marab. O'Malley was trying some submissions on the bottom. He never got one for like a real submission attempt,
Right.
but he was trying to go for submissions on the bottom. I think Sandhagen can do those submissions from the bottom, so it'd be interesting to see that matchup. Umar's just a little Marab light, so that fight will never be anything. Umar, if I was him, I'd move down to 25 and hope that you can get Figgy like that. But, oh man, Marab's tough. And I like O'Malley at 45 against a journeyman. Kind of like how Holloway moved up to 55 for the BMF belt.
Yeah.
And then did like the weird thing with Gaethje, and he's like, I'm still at 45, and then he fights Ilya, and then loses to Ilya, and then Ilya gets the belt. And then he beats Volkanovski. So it was like right, events are going to happen for Sean to get back in another title fight. And I think
sure.
There's going to be a lot of switching around, swip-swapping. I think he is going to fight for a while longer. Once UFC fighters start talking about family life and this and that. I mean, Marab is paying OnlyFans models to sit in his like Instagram videos, and then he just trains all day. That's it. It's like, okay, nice girl. See you later. Coming up next, though, UFC Atlanta. This is going to be a good card. Usman versus Buckley. We got a couple of good ones. Cody Garbrandt's on there. Alonzo Minefield. Omar Sy. He's supposed to be pretty good. Brody Bunjic on the main card is crazy. He's maybe the worst fighter in the UFC.
Paul Craig,
Marco Triesa, Malcolm Wellmaker versus Chris Coutinho. This is going to be very interesting. We'll see what the odds look like on this. We will put out more. I don't know. We got to think of underdog picks. We got to think of what word people are using for that. But we'll release some of those. I'll do my research. I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking, and we'll do that. Ricky Simone, gosh, Charles Jourdain, opening it up. But that kind of does it for UFC. We got some interesting stuff coming up. Obviously, Sean, we're going to lick our wounds on this one. I do have questions for Smart or Dumb. I don't know if Nick Howard's going to join us. But,
yeah, if he does, we'll figure it out there for sure. Let's roll over to the only thing other that's like one of our major sports that's in season. That is K-Stout and the MLB. He gets off his phone, back in action, ready to talk. I'll put my headphones down and put my mic on mute because I won't get a word in. But you know what? That's what we have him for. That's what we love him for. So take it away with the MLB talk, and you can start glazing Jack Caglione.
You know, I told myself I was not going to talk about the standings, but I will. I'll do it. I don't want to do it because the Royals look like garbage, but I don't care. I'm going to talk about the standings. I'm going to go to P4. Maybe Nick Howard gets on. I give him some Cardinals talk. We'll see what happens. I have a Royals rant. I don't know what it's going to be about. Detroit is the best team in the MLB. There's no question. They're the best. They have the devil magic. They have everything that your team wants to be working right now. The Detroit Tigers have it working. They're good. They are almost 10 games over 500. It's getting close. The Yankees are 39-25. They lead the AL East. Sure. 39-25. The Houston Astros are 36-29. They're only 2 games up behind the team that is outside of the wild card spot. The AL is so screwed up. This is why I didn't want to talk about it. Minnesota, whatever, Minnesota. They're 35-30. They've played 2 less games than everybody else. Tampa Bay played 2 less games than everybody else. They're 35-30. Toronto, they've also played 2 less games than everybody else. They're 35-30 as well. Cleveland is 34-30. They've played 3 games less than everybody else. Seattle, they played 1 game less than the max that you could play right now. They're 33-31.
I was thinking that. I was like,
Kansas City is 34-22. They split the road series. They beat the Cardinals, and then they lost a series to the White Sox. I Anyways, Boston is still below 500. They suck. Texas does not have an offense. The Angels, Baltimore, Angels are the White Sox. They are still stinky, but they have talent, and I'm not just saying that for an excuse of the Royals losing a series to them. The Mets are the best team in the NL. It's just a fact. It's just a fact that the Mets 42-24. They're 2 games out of being 10 games above 500 before the middle of June. The Chicago Cubs decided to play a good baseball team, and guess what happened? They lost the series. Uh-oh, the Cubs are frauds. We all know that. The Cubs are frauds. The Dodgers are injured? I don't know. The Dodgers are fake until the playoffs? I don't know. San Diego apparently is 37-27. I don't know how that makes any sense. And whatever. That's insane. San Francisco is 38-28. I don't know how that makes any sense, but I guess. A lot of teams have not played enough games. It's a very weird schedule they have going on. And the Phillies are 37-28, sure. St. Louis is 36-29. They beat the Dodgers. Milwaukee is 4 games above 500, and they look lost. Cincinnati is dead even at 33-33. Arizona is poop. The Washington Nationals are getting better. Atlanta is 10. Atlanta is 10 games below 500. And they got, what's that guy's name? Ronald Acuna? 10 games ago. Oopsie. That didn't look too well. Pittsburgh, garbage. Miami, garbage. Oh, the Colorado Rockies. Yuck, 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 yuck. P4, what do the Mets have going for them? They just beat the crap out of the Rockies. You guys play the Dodgers next? Is that what I hear?
No.
Who the Mets play?
No, I think we're done with the Dodgers.
You're done with the Dodgers?
Yeah, we play the Nats on Tuesday.
Okay.
The Rays. Yeah, we're kind of out of it.
Okay.
Then we play the Rays, and then first series against the Braves. Series against the Phillies. Second series against the Braves. That's an interesting one.
So the Mets are doing well. P4, just talk about your Mets real quick.
What is there to say? I mean, they have the best pitching in all of baseball. I think they're the only team with 5 starters with 12 or more starts. Their bats can get hot, and even if their bats aren't hot, they're still some of the best bats in baseball. I mean, you take the Mets 7, 8, 9 hitters, and they're batting 1, 2, 3 for the Royals. And the Royals aren't a bad team.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Rage bait, that's why I'm the best at it. No, I mean, we have Starling Marte and Jeff McNeil platooning, and those guys are every day on any other team.
That is true. I'll say that. They're every day on the Royals. Starling Marte, yeah, he's probably
Jeff McNeil hit 2 home runs today.
I'd say, yeah, Jeff McNeil, Starling Marte, they're probably every day for the Royals. I'd say so.
Then you got these young kids. Ronnie Mauricio killed a baseball. I don't know if baseballs are already dead, but he killed it. 456 feet. Pete Alonso's maybe the best right-handed hitter in baseball right now.
I think he is. I think he's better than Judge. I think Judge is overrated. He's a good player. Judge is a good player. But
Soto went 3 for 3 today with 3 walks, got on base 6 times. Kodai Senga killing it with the forkball. Kodai Senga, his last start, threw 1 sweeper. It was hit for a home run. Didn't throw a sweeper again the whole game. Thought that was funny. But yeah, the Mets are killing it. They're incredible. I don't know really what else to say about them. The bullpen's doing good. David Stearns is doing his own little magic. I don't like this little Frankie Montas thing that he's like not doing too well in his rehab starts in AAA. But he's like the 6th starter. Paul Blackburn's got a 4-inning save this today, which is interesting.
It's what you do with the Rockies. I mean, it's kind of what you do.
Yeah, I mean, what do you have to say about about the Mets, Kyle?
I
Like
think
outside
I
looking in.
think Pete Alonso is, first of all, let's get something very straight here. When we look at valuable players, and I think I can say this to every baseball media guy out there. When we look at WAR, the stat WAR, there's a lot of different variants of WAR. F WAR is the one that we look at for position players mainly, and I think when you are a first baseman and you're looking at a first baseman's F WAR, I think that that is wrong, and I think that that's silly because the Fangraphs grades first baseman at a extreme level, especially on defense and hitting and everything else. They value them way high, so your margin of error is this thin. And Pete Alonso is getting that treatment in F WAR. If you look at the F WAR right now, Pete Alonso is maybe top 10. That's ridiculous. Pete Alonso should be a top 5 baseball player today. As a right-handed hitter, I think he's number 1 because he plays a primary position. Aaron Judge, cool. You play right field. I don't really care. First baseman is a way more valuable position than right field. That's just my opinion. You have to scoop balls. If you don't scoop balls, then you suck apparently. You know how hard it is to scoop balls? I've said that a lot of times. It sounds a little homosexual. But
You do have the flag in the back to kind of.
but dude, it's hard. It's hard. Pete Alonso is a top 3 player right now. Right now. And I think he should be getting MVP votes. He should be a bona fide all-star. And he should be getting a lot of money next season. A lot. From whoever wants to pick him up. Whether it be the Mets, the Dodgers, who cares? Whoever pays him the most. If I'm Pete, bro, I'm taking as much as I get, bro.
He's 30 years old. He's 10 home runs away from the Mets' all-time home run leader.
Dude, this is the greatest bet on yourself season we've seen in Scott Boris's era ever. This is insane. And he's going to get 10 more home runs. Other than that, the Mets are rolling. They really don't have anything negative going against. I think right now, if you say, Kyle, who is your MLB or who's your World Series favorite, I'm picking the Mets. There's no way. And that's not being biased. That's not being me saying, and I know Nick Howard will go, well, the Dodgers are injured. Right now, if you put the Dodgers and the Mets together in a playoff setting, I think the Mets win. I think Soto is good. I think Lindor it makes too much sense. And your depth is insane. It makes too much sense. Your pitching is
The
way too
options
good.
could get sticky towards the end of the
Sure,
year.
but a lot of people are dealing with options. My team is ridiculously dealing with options. But I think the Mets right now have the most comfortable path to the playoffs and the first seed. At the end of the day, I do think the Mets need to keep their focus, continue to play competitive baseball, don't lose track of what the goal is. Because it's very easy to lose track of what the goal is when you're beating the crap out of the Rockies and the Rays. The Rays are a good team. They'll get into hot stretches, but they're not a good team. In reality, they're not a good team. The AL is a cluster F of whatever. The Rays are not good. There are 3 teams right now that are not in the wild card standings that are better than the Rays. I know that for a fact.
Why is this a Rays thing?
Well, because you're playing the Rays in a couple of 2 series from now.
Okay.
I'm just saying you guys should smoke the Rays. It's my opinion.
Baseball in stolen bases.
But
He does.
I think the Mets are fine. I think they're good. Just keep your focus. Don't lose track. There's going to be something that goes wrong in the season, like your pitching. I know the Juan Soto thing was kind of goofy. That might have been it. But every team has something that goes wrong. The Detroit Tigers are going to have something go very wrong at some point in the season. They cannot be this good. We've seen this. Anyways, I can talk about the Royals, if that makes any sense. Let me.
I was about ready to do for a nap.
P4. How about this? Let me just tell you. Let me just put you in out of the park baseball right now. And your team is supposed to be middle of the wild card, probably division series winners. So like 86 to 91 win games, right?
Yeah.
You have 4 players that you're either DFAing or sending to AAA that were league average bats last season. Your two
Is Mark Canna on my team?
Your 2 Cy Young contenders last year are injured for 15 games. Your top 2 relievers that are all-stars are gone for 40 games. What do you expect your record to be?
If only you gotta think that like top 2 pitching. If you're expecting to be in the middle of a wild card race, the rest of the team has to fill out. I mean, unless you're like a Paul Skeens team or a Scooble team, the best of the team shouldn't have to carry the entirety of the load. So I'd say somewhere around 500.
And that's kind of where the Royals are. That's where they are. And this is kind of my cry out to Royals fans that say that we're a garbage team, that we're nothing, we're trash. Guys, we had 4 everyday players, 4 of them, that are not on the team anymore because they were the worst hitters in the MLB. Michael Massey is probably that 4th. Michael Massey has an OPS of what? Does anyone know what Michael Massey's OPS is? Do we even know? 462.
I think that's Judge's batting average right now.
462. That's his OPS. That's the worst hitter in the MLB by a long shot. He needs to be gone. All of our pitchers are injured. All of our good pitchers are injured. Now we have Chris Bubich. Awesome. He decided to show up and be a Cy Young level pitcher. Noah Cameron apparently is the savior. I don't know how this happens. But the Royals need to understand that the only trade piece they need to get in the offseason is a single bat that is above average. That's it. Bobby Witt is still the best shortstop in the MLB, and he's batting .290. He is. That's just... the Royals fans sit here and go, Bobby, I say it too, Bobby's playing like crap and he's hitting .290. That's how big the expectation is for Bobby Witt Jr. And Bobby Witt Jr. in the past 2 games, basically saved got the win for them. The Royals are a team that is perfectly okay. And if they just kind of claw up a little bit until July and wait for a single bat to be traded for them, they'll be fine. The Guardians are a fraud team. I think the Twins are a fraud team. There's a lot of frauds in the AL. If you go look at the AL standings right now, it is a mess. A mess. And I believe personally that the Royals will find themselves out of this funk. Hopefully the Royals win a series against the Yankees. My hopes aren't high. Does Jack Caglione get a home run? Maybe. He had a 4-for-4 day today. His OPS is better than
he's played in 4 games.
Dude, the kid shouldn't be up. He shouldn't. I've been delusional. I have. P4
Is
knows
it
it.
in the Yankee Stadium?
No, it's our stadium. I've been delusional about Jack Aglione. Nick Howard knows it the best. I've been the most delusional about this kid. But in reality, he shouldn't be up. He should be up in July. But we suck so bad on offense that he's here now. The Royals are completely fine at where they're at. 4 DFA'd or AAA option guys. It's insane. It's insane. They're gone. That's my rant. I'm done.
Good insight there on the MLB, obviously coming from K-Stel. Very long-winded, but very good stuff. Good stuff. We definitely need to go over the MLB stuff. Unfortunately, it looks like Howard's Wi-Fi and that volcanic eruption may have just knocked it out. So it doesn't look like he's going to be here this week. However, he will have his Taylor Swift PowerPoint ready for us to be able to enjoy. I'm hoping, big expectations from a guy like Howard, especially over that. Hopefully it's not too crazy, but it is what it is. Let's do the last little whip around with all the boys. Let's start. I started with main man from way out west first. Let's head and end the show. K-Stel, what is your final words, even though you just had all of them, to the people?
A lot of work, a lot of stuff going on. Just trying to keep up with the Royals. It's tough because they lost the series to the White Sox, but beat the Cardinals. Cardinals just beat the Dodgers. Are we the best team? I don't know. I'm just kidding. You just hopefully just clarity coming through here soon. I'm just kind of flabbergasted right now with a lot of stuff going on, so hopefully we just kind of pick back up in the sane train, which I don't know if that's ever made it to my station, but hopefully we get there.
Nice, good job by there for K-Stel. Main man from way out west, you might as well kind of end it off, of course, as you always do.
Yeah, everyone who joined us today, I mean, the chat was a little quiet, but, as you said, it's dog days, so everyone's out having fun. The sun's been staying out a little bit later. Mr. Sun's out there somewhere. Actually, I'm at the beach. Actually, I forgot to mention, but yeah, like, donate, subscribe. Dudes in Sports, we got some cool stuff coming down the pipe for you guys. One of us is getting hitched. So, yep, happy Pride Month, Kyle. And, yep, like, donate, subscribe. Go Mets, go Jets, Duke. I mean, come on. We're looking pretty good coming down the pipe for the Jets and for my squads. Sean O'Malley, that's a tough one. So let's look at this. What did we hit and what did we miss? So we missed Sal Khalid, the Australian kid, Gustafson, Cortez Acosta, Holland, missed on O'Malley, 31 to win 2,000 or 3,000. But we hit the Mets, Holland, France to win $45. Gosh, man, that 3K would have been nice. Put a nice house on this beach. But, like, donate, subscribe. Goodbye, folks.
Hey, yeah, just like we said, one of us getting hitched, so next week we will be here. Hopefully we have all 4. We should with the Taylor Swift. We will be taking that next week off as the guys will be down at that wedding, and then we'll pick up right back